So for your activity today, we're going to be doing like this really cool summertime garland. And the colors of paper that I have in front of me are actually the exact same ones that I have in this one that I made up. So we're just gonna kind of replicate this. But the colors that you choose to use are up to you. This is your art. So the colors of paper that you choose, the amount of, I don't know, what do you call the things on a garland? Like pendants, the amount of kind of things that you put on that garland is up to you, and the colors that you make and the designs that you make are up to you also. So really take my art and what I show you guys as just inspiration. This is up to you, and I'm here to just inspire you. That's what I'm doing. So you are going to need some colored paper. I'm personally using scraps. If you have scraps of colored paper, I would recommend you use those because it's a great way to just filter out those scraps, and then you can use a full sheet of paper when the time comes that you need. So I've got a tiny bit of yellow, I've got some green here, and I've also got some blue. I'm just using these three colors to keep this video at a moderate length. But you can add as many things as you want onto your garland, use as many colors as you please. You could even layer multiple colors onto the, what do you call that? Like, what do you, someone help. You know, if I have like something on a garland, what do you call that? Attachment? You'll also need some string. I've just got some. This, honestly, we keep this in my kitchen. Yeah, so you'll need a little bit of string, and then you will also need some scissors. I've got my favorite rose gold scissors here with me today. This was a Christmas present, oddly enough. And I also have some glue. And those are your pretty much basic materials. Now, I always like to give you guys the option of personalizing your, I don't know how to say this, personalizing like your art. So I also have some felt tip markers with me. If you want to add some designs onto your garland, that's going to be a great idea. And you might want a pencil and an eraser. I'm going to get one out of my thing here. Unless you're really good at cutting shapes out by hand without following a line, you can forego the whole pencil idea, but I like to use a pencil, have an eraser here just in case. So the first thing, before we cut any string, we need to kind of decide what shapes we're going to make. So I think I have just a little bit of yellow here, and because I only have this amount of yellow with me, I'm going to put it at the middle of my garland so that there could be colors on either side, because I have more green and I have more blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off, and this is really kind of a sample for whatever shape you decide to make, but every time you decide to make something new to add onto your garland, what you're going to do is take your paper and always fold it in half. So I'm doing this right here. And now that you have your paper folded in half, you can go and make a shape. So we're going to make a shape. I might decide to do a flower, so you can kind of think about the shape of a flower. And it doesn't have to be symmetrical. I'll make this a little bit darker so you can see what I've done. And you're just tracing kind of an outline onto your folded piece of paper. So I've done something like that. I might touch it up a little bit. Something honestly that I like to do is bring these two lines on the side in a little bit. But once you are happy with the design that you've made, I want you to grab your scissors. And if you are a little bit nervous with scissors, if you are maybe too young for regular scissors, make sure you get an adult to help you out with this. But I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut along the line that I've created. And so by doing this, having that paper folded in half, I'm going to have a flower on each side, and I can put the string in the middle. So I've done this, and it's going to actually hang on our garland just like that. So even if you unfolded it, I've kind of got a butterfly shape going here if I unfold it, but you don't have to, and that's the magic of it. So I've got a lovely flower, and I'm just going to put it aside. We'll come back to it later. And I've got this beautiful outline now. Ta-da. It's the negative image of the thing that you cut out. Now let's do this again, but with some new shapes. So I've got kind of a strip of green here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in half this way. It's up to you what you do. My voice really went out there for a moment. I'm gonna fold this piece of paper in half again. And I think what I'll do actually, so I have this, it's a little bit wide for my liking, so I'm actually just gonna cut this in half, roughly in half. I could get a ruler out and do it. So now I've got a shape that looks like this. I could stand it up and it's like, do you see that? I could stand it up and it's a little bit of a house kind of shape. And so what I might do, because this is green, I might create some leaves with this. Some leaves to accompany my beautiful yellow flower that I'm going to put onto my garland. And so I'm now going to create the shape of a leaf. And so you might, I have an orchid like staring me in the face right now. But what you might decide to do is kind of like an almondy shape. You could be really bold and decide to do like a maple leaf kind of shape. Yeah, you could do that if you had like some red paper. And so I've done this kind of shape. But something you can do, if you would like to do a different shape, you can always search for some shapes of leaves. I'm actually going to do one more because I cut that piece of, I had this, and I folded it in half, and then I cut the fold in half. So I'm going to do another one so I can have like one leaf on either side. So now I have two little pieces, and I've just done the drawing on one side. I didn't do it on this side because I only need to cut on, well, I'm cutting through both sides, but I only need to follow it on one side. And make sure you are not cutting the fold there. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with my flower. I've got my scissors here. I'm just going to start down at the bottom, and I'm going to follow the line that I've created. And I'm going to make a beautiful leaf. So I've cut out a nice leaf shape there. It's the same on both sides because I folded it in half. It's a beautiful property of folding paper in half. And now I'm going to do the next one. I'll give you guys a moment to do that as well. So I've done another one. And I'm just going to put that aside. I have them all kind of together right here. And I'm going to choose one more shape to do. I don't know what I should do. Maybe, if you have a suggestion for a shape to do, I would love that. Right now what I'm going to do before I choose any shape, I'm just going to cut a lovely little strip of paper. I'm going to cut it along this way. I was doing it on the wrong side there. If you have a paper cutter, like so if you're using something like cardstock or heavy duty paper, you can of course use a paper cutter. I just sliced and diced with my scissors. You could always use a ruler if you would like, and then draw that line so you get it perfectly. I don't really have a preference. And then I'm going to cut this long guy in half here. So I'm taking this, so I had this, and now I've cut them in half. I'm going to take this and fold it in half one more time. Maybe I'll do like a classic garland shape. And I'll show you this because it's actually a really fun one to do. So what's going to happen is I have my square. It's kind of a square. It's more of a rectangle. And then I'm just going to draw a nice triangle at the bottom. And I'm going to go from one corner. I'm going to go up to some point, not quite to the middle, just below the middle. And then I'm going to go back down and meet at the other corner. And I will show you what that looks like. So just like that. So if you make that nice triangle, and it's okay if the lengths of the sides are not the same length, that's totally okay. I'm actually going to do the next one before we cut. So I've got this piece of paper again. I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to do that nice triangle again. I'm just going to go up to one point, to the corner, and then go to the other corner. So I've got this lovely shape here. And then what I'm going to do is, rather than cutting out a full shape like I did with these leaves and with the flower, I'm just going to cut out that triangle. So now, once you cut out that triangle, this is what you get. It's a lovely shape. And then you're left over with some pretty cool triangles. Ta-da! What you choose to do with your triangles is up to you. I'm gonna cut out the next one. And there you have it. And this is pretty much all the paper cutting that we have to do. So I would suggest, I'll give you a moment if you would like to dispose of your scraps. So now comes part of the fun part. So if you have some markers or some pencil crayons or some crayons or some pens, the possibilities are endless. I am going to invite you to get those out. So I have like some felt tip pens here. I really enjoy these felt tip pens. I've had them for a long time. And now's the time that you get to decorate your pennants that you have made for your garland. So I have one flower, 2 leaves, and then 2 of like these banners here. I'm gonna call them banners. I like that word. And now I'm going to decorate them. So I might think about this flower. I think I'm going to give it a, is it called a stamen? What's the inside of a flower called? I have a lot of questions about words. I'm going to create a nice semicircle for my flower. Lucky me, I actually traced it in pencil before because I'd been thinking about that. So I did that. I have an orange kind of marker here. And then I might decide to maybe do some scallops along the edge of that stamen, just like that. And then maybe I'll do some lines coming out from in between the scallops. So I've done something like this. I think that looks kind of cool. And then you could even do like some details on the petals. So maybe take a second to do that if you have decided to make a flower. And I'll even put like some dots in the middle of the middle, I guess, of the flower. So I've done this to one side of the flower, but what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. And because you could be looking at the garland from either direction, I'm going to do the same thing that I did on this side to the other. And really, you don't actually have to do the same thing that you did to one side that you do to the other. It's up to you. You could. That might be really cool if you did 2 different designs of flower. And then if you're like, if you hang it in a door frame, you know what, this is an idea here. So if you hang it in a door frame, then if you walk through the door frame, like going to the kitchen, let's say, then you'll see it one way with like a certain design. But then if you're coming from the kitchen, you're leaving the kitchen, you'll see it a different way. I think that's kind of cool. You might enjoy that. But that's up to you again. It's your art. And this is what I've done. So I've got this going. It's like a nice flower pattern. And now I'm going to move on to my leaves. I'm just putting my orange marker pen. It's like a marker pen. Pen marker. So I've got like a green, this is kind of more of an olive green. I like the color. And I'm going to add some details to my leaves here. So I might do like the classic leaf kind of thing where I'm going to have one line through the middle, just like that. And then I'll have some lines coming out. They're the veins of the leaf. I usually like to turn my leaf around for that. So it just turns out to kind of look like this. So you could do that. You could add more veins. You could add less veins. You could have them like all branching off in a certain pattern. Again, I'm going to do this to the other side. So I have that. And I think I'll do that to the same leaf. Not to the same leaf, to the other leaf. And I'm just going to do that nice line down the middle, then put some veins coming off of it. That one almost didn't reach the middle line. So I've done that again to my other leaf, just like that. And so that brings us to our last shape that we've created. We have these banners. So I've got this shape. I have another one of those. So you could, this is up to you really. I think I'm going for like a navy kind of color here to use on my blue banner. But you might decide to, I don't know, you could put words on it. You really could. You could put your name. You could put like the word summer. You could put Friday on it. bonus points if you do that. You could do like some line art, you could do flowers. This is up to you. You could do like a family crest. I don't really know if that's a thing anymore. So I did some lines in the middle, but I'm not sure where else to go. Maybe I'll do like the sun on one side. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing like the sun on one side, and then I'm gonna do a nice crescent moon on the other side. Ooh, it's a little wonky, but I like it anyways. So I've done something like that, and then I'll do it on the other side. I just think it looks kind of interesting. It's like mysterious. That's something that you could do. I also did for the first one that I made. I did like this. So there's a line in the middle, and then there's like flowers. They're kind of like, maybe they're 4-leaf clovers, who knows? Yeah, I did those on the other side. So maybe I will do that with my other banner. I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna keep with the sun and moon theme that I've created. You could obviously add more detail than I'm doing. This is really just a place to get you started. So I've done that again. So now it comes the time to string all of our elements onto our garland. Just checking the time. So I've got some string here, and I'm just going to ravel it out. You might choose to do like the length of your arm. So I'm gonna measure from my shoulder to like about my wrist. I think that's a healthy length there. If the more elements, like the more pennants that you have on your garland, then the more string you will need, the longer your string is going to be. So I've got this nice healthy length of string, and I'm going to show you how you can string these onto your garland. One option is you could use a stapler. It's not my favorite way to do it though, because then, you know, you can't see as much of your art as you might like. So I'm going to take my flower that I've made, and because I only have one flower, I'm going to put it right into the middle. And this is where your glue stick comes in handy. So I'm just going to take the cap off of my glue, and I want you to open up the design that you made and put some glue on either side of the fold. Okay? And once you have done that, find the place in your string that you would like to put it on the string. So I've got my flower going right into the middle here. And then just press it down and press the glue together. So you will end up with that. And so putting the glue on either side of the fold really helps it to get in there, because you've got the string inside of the fold, and then you have paper with glue on either side, but not touching the string, and then they smush together. So you like trap the string in there. It's kind of, you could make like a necklace with this, couldn't you? Anyways, we've got that. Now I'm gonna do my leaves, and I'm gonna do the same thing. And the order or the pattern that you place your elements, your pennants, your, what's the other word, bunting, in is up to you. This is your art again. I know I say that a lot, but it's so important. So I'm going to put my glue on either side of the fold of my green leaves. And then I'm going to put it just beside my flower. You don't have to smush it right up against. So I've got like that there. Got some nice space. And then I've got one leaf on this side, but I'm gonna do a leaf on this side too, because I have two leaves. I just thought it would look cool. I like the look of it. Ta-da. And then we'll do the same thing. I think I'm gonna put, this is really the only place left that I have for my last banners to go. I'll put them on either side of the leaves. So now it's kind of like a symmetrical style banner. We've got the flower in the middle, and then a leaf on either side, and then like a little banner on either side too. I think that's kind of cool. So now my garland has 5 elements on it. You might have more, you might have less. You could even like have a project where you collect different types of paper And then you like make one long continuous garland. It's up to you. When you are done, when you feel done, make sure that you put all of your materials away in their proper homes. Screw the cap onto your glue. That's what I'm gonna do. That rhymed. Anyways, and now I have this beautiful garland. And I wonder where you might choose to put up your garland. Maybe you will put it in a door frame somewhere. Maybe you'll hang it above your bed in your room. I don't know. Something that might be helpful if you have like a nail in the wall, or if you have two nails in the wall, is to tie an overhand knot. And an overhand knot, I'll do one for you. You just fold your string in half, just like this, and then knot that string. I'm working with like a small amount of string here. Oh, I did it. And then you can't really see it. And then you can hang that onto something. And you could do the same thing with the other side. So then it really works out well. But yeah, stay tuned for future programs and for future workshops, and keep creating. Okay, guys? That's it from me. I'm signing off. Bye.